When it comes to writing the background information, here are 3 important questions you want to consider to help you build this section. Number 1. How much background do I need to give this reader, considering his or her position and experience with the subject? What does the reader need to know to better understand the main report? Why was this report commissioned? Are there any long-term goals that the reader wants to meet? Let's practice. Imagine the principal of Ngee Ann Polytechnic has commissioned you to write a report on the feasibility of building a new sports and recreation facility for students at Ngee Ann Polytechnic. What would be included in the background information of your report? Bear in mind that you are writing to the principal of NP. What would he need to know and what does he not need to know? Pause this video and write down in your workbook what you put in the background information. For such a report, you may want to include things like a very brief history of the development of NP's campus, where possible be as relevant to the research topic rather than repeating the entire history of a company to the reader. The current sports and recreation facilities in NP. And number 3, the main reasons why students need new sports and recreation facilities. It would look something like this. Ngee Ann Polytechnic was inaugurated in 1963 with only 116 students. Today, it is one of the leading institutions in Singapore with more than 16,000 full-time student enrollment per year. There are currently several sports and recreation facilities for the students to enjoy during their breaks. For example, there are squash courts, badminton courts, a running track, and an Olympic-sized swimming pool housed at Block 18. However, due to the increasing population of students and staff, these facilities are often crowded, especially during peak hours. The principal of Ngee Ann Polytechnic, Mr. Clarence Ti, has commissioned the research team to investigate the feasibility of building a new sports and recreation facility. These new facilities are envisioned to provide the students with more choices in sports and recreation. The first paragraph talks about the brief history of Ngee Ann. You don't have to mention how many schools there are, nor how many diplomas NP has, as they are irrelevant to the research topic. The second paragraph focuses on the current situation at NP. It puts the reader and the writer on the same wavelength on the current status of the research topic. You will notice that the last sentence highlights the reasons why this report is needed. This is not the purpose statement, but the reasons that inspired the commissioning of this report. In the final paragraph, you need to include important information like the name and designation of the person who commissioned the report. As we mentioned earlier, more than one person may read this report. You want to help any secondary readers to read the report in the right context by telling him or her who this report was originally written for. It also includes the long-term goal that these facilities will meet. Depending on the complexity of your topic, you may also want to consider adding the following to your background information. An explanation of unfamiliar, commonly misunderstood, difficult to understand concepts, terms, theories, or ideas. Explain these in simpler terms to make sure that the writer and the reader are on the same page. Or you may want to highlight specific people, issues, or events that may have an impact on the research topic. For example, if you were researching on the feasibility of launching a remote learning program in Ngee Ann Polytechnic, you might want to mention that Singapore is moving towards becoming a smart nation. Launching a remote learning program in NP will enable students to become more comfortable in a digital environment, which may help them work in a technology-driven economy in the future. Once you finish writing your background information, review it to check that it flows naturally into the purpose statement but does not repeat the purpose statement. And of course, with every piece of work, please remember to use APA in-text citations if you use facts, figures, or other information from any secondary sources. The background information would be written in both past and present tense to indicate the change of events.
Created using Powtoon.